In Diablo 2, the Mercenary bug is an important thing to know how to use, and even how to avoid for some characters. To bring everyone up to speed, let's first explain what the bug is, and then we'll show the main methods for obtaining it for both the Act 2 mercenaries as well as the mercenaries that actually know how doors work. The Mercenary bug is basically a method of making your mercenary difficult to target for enemies, and I phrase it that way intentionally since they can still be targeted in the right conditions. For most characters, this means that melee enemies will never target the mercenary, where ranged enemies can, since they use different rules. Hybrid enemies vary depending on their targeting types, and yes, the Mercenary bug does work on Act bosses too. It is worth noting though, the Necromancer is the specific case, and that's why we use him for visual examples a lot, because he has access to two very special skills, Bone Wall and Bone Prison, which can force even melee enemies into a position where they can target the bugged mercenary, but only if you block pathfinding for the enemies. So with that out of the way, let's talk about how the Mercenary bug works. Basically, we want to block the mercenary pathfinding and force them to teleport to a dead zone. It is worth noting that you want to unsummon your minions since most of them can open doors and ruin this. As far as the Act 2 mercenary goes, it's fairly simple and fairly well known, as we can go to the inner cloister and use the doorway there to force a teleport, as you can see in the background. This is the most reliable and easy way to bug an Act 2 mercenary, as they don't know how to open doors. But unfortunately, all the other mercenaries, as well as most summons, as we said, know how to open doors and can make this very difficult. So what do we use for them, you might ask? For all the other mercenaries, we have to get a little bit more creative, but the earliest reliable way to bug them, that I've found at least, is the jail method. You see in the background basically being shown on a mage mercenary. The trick here is to find a wall cage, as I call it. There's a few varieties of these in the jail, this one being the easiest, but any you can trap the mercenary in a reasonable half of it is fine. As with the Act 2 mercenary, we want to walk up to a point where the mercenary disappears on the map and park ourselves next to a void. You'll know it works when there's a small delay and the mercenary teleports next to you. There are supposedly ways to bug mercenaries using different town layouts as well, but I found these to be inconsistent at best, the most popular one being using the Act 2 tavern with a Drognin exit, but I generally only have about a 50% success rate with that method, whereas the jail method, I have yet to have it fail. As with many similar set-it type bugs in Diablo 2, like the weapon speed bug, the skill bug, the aura bug, etc., you need to reset it each time you get into a new game. With the mercenary bug, you also do actually need to reset it each time the mercenary dies, which can still happen with this bug. It's just less common and more likely to happen whenever you're dealing with a lot of ranged enemies that can actually target it. If you found this video and the demonstrations useful, hit that like button and subscribe for more bugs, builds, and battle iterations.